Yeah, we've been actively involved in the immigration reform process now for at least 10 years here as a Farm Bureau. We are participating in the national coalition that's working towards some sort of resolution for a ag worker, ag visa type program on a seasonal basis. We've been to Washington, D.C. to lobby on this issue, and as everyone knows, we haven't really gotten anywhere at this point. So we're hoping this year is the year to do that. And we've been very adamant in our position here that we need to have a seasonal worker program that works for California, that is transportable between employers, that doesn't have a housing requirement, and that has a wage that's fair. I mean, we can't have a prevailing wage that is so high that it just is cost prohibitive for growers and they can't make any money on their crops, and it kind of drives a wedge in the community too. I don't think that's a positive thing. So we've been pretty strong in our stance and position on that. And locally, labor here has been short the last couple of years. We've had a few crews that have been running light, either one or two people, or some instances where farmers have just had to abandon a field because they don't have a harvest crew to take care of it. So that's kind of a shame. It's a waste to waste a good crop that could easily go somewhere and feed someone. And we're hoping that this year will be a little bit better. Early indications are that maybe we're going to be about the same as last year, which would be a good step because it's not degrading the situation any further, but it's still going to present some shortages locally here, and particularly when we start harvesting some of the leafy greens and the harvest crews get moving very quickly and they have to move from field to field to field, it gets pretty hectic. So we're hoping that there's some regulatory relief, that Washington, D.C. will really take this on and seriously make some positive changes, and that they will offer some sort of program for the 11 or 12 million that are here already and allow them to get some sort of legal documentation so that they can work here legally. And we're not asking for citizenship at this point, and everyone keys on this amnesty word all the time, and I don't think that's where we really are going with this. We just want to make sure that those people who are here, who are working in our communities, who have families here, or are productive and spend their money here, have a legal right to do so. And if that means giving them some sort of documentation to allow them to do it, I think that helps, and that helps the employers too. And at that point, if we've got that in place and we have a seasonal program that works, then let's talk about verifying employees through a national system so that we can determine who's here legally and who isn't. And we're all for that. It's just give us the tools to get there and make sure that we're understanding that the workforce is going to be available to us when we need it.
And what happens? What happens if it's not? What happens if these workers are not here?
Well, then we're essentially going to be exporting those jobs. If farmers can't produce and harvest their crops here and make their money here, they're going to find a way to do it someplace else. And if that means they have to go to Mexico or some other place off continent even, they may consider doing that. And we've already seen some of that happening here, where there's more and more strawberries going to Mexico. They're producing more lettuce, more tomatoes down there. So not to begrudge anything that's going on in Mexico, but those are all jobs that we're exporting simply because we don't have the workers here who can help us grow where we have optimal climate, soil, water, whatever it may be. So I think we're really doing ourselves a disservice, and it's almost a national security issue even if you think about it, because we want a safe, reliable national food supply, and we know how it's produced, we know where it comes from, we know that it's done under very strict standards that we have already proven that we can operate under. So why would we take the risk of exporting something to another country where we don't really fully understand how they're going to produce it?